Hey all, welcome to the next reading journal video. In this video, I'll be setting up my May month reading journal spreads, and also I'll be updating my May reads and my yearly reading trackers. So the last 2 months, I've been exploring new ways of doing voiceovers in my YouTube videos. Since the content of the video is going to be just monthly updating of my reading journal pages, I figured that explaining what I'm doing over and over again will be repetitive, and since I maintain my reading journal in pretty much the same way for all the months, it's gonna get too boring for you all. So in the March month, I talked about my supplies that I used to update my reading journal, and last month, in April, I talked about how I stay consistent with my reading journal and how I maintained it for the past one and a half years. And so this month I'll be talking about how I tackle a reading slump. So if you have been following me on Instagram, you might have noticed that I posted very often last month about being in a slump and not being able to read anything at all. So for people who are not aware, reading slump is basically a time period where you don't feel like reading anything and nothing interests you. And no matter what book you pick, what genre you pick, even if it's a book that I've already loved, you just don't feel like reading. So May month was one of my worst reading slumps in a very long time. As you can see, the calendar page that I'm updating, in the left side I usually have the reading calendar that I post on Instagram stories. You can see that a lot of days are marked as cross. So this is what a reading slump looks like. There are many days I go without reading, mostly more than a week at times, and even when I read, it will be very less pages. So how did I come out of that? By now I can say that I have picked up a couple more books, and I'm reading quite well now. So the first tip that I always give to someone when they ask me how to get out of a reading slump is choose shorter books. So picking up a bigger book can be a little overwhelming for most of us. So when I'm in a slump, I usually go to pick out books which are less than 300 pages typically, or sometimes maybe even less than 200 pages is what I usually go for. So having a short book helps you look forward to finishing it fast. You know that you will be able to finish it quick, like in a week, or for people who read regularly, you can finish it in 2 or 3 days. So you know that it's not going to consume much of your energy, and you know that you will get to the end of the book very soon. So that is one strong motivator that has always helped me in coming out of a reading slump. And so moving on to the next point, I pick out books that I have already loved. I reread my old favorites again. So there have been a lot of books that I've reread multiple times. One, for example, the Hunger Games trilogy, and sometimes I even go back to the books that I read as a child, like all these Enid Blyton books and Nancy Drew books. So all those are very small books, and reading them again, or even reading any book from those series that you have not read yet, it gives you a feeling of going back to those days when you read them as a child or as a teenager or whenever. So that gives a sort of comfort. It's you're in a comfort zone, and you have no anxiety about how the book is gonna end, and you have no anxiety about how long you'll take to complete the book, and all those sort of feelings that usually push you into a reading slump. And moving on to the next tip, sometimes I read books on phone, either on my Kindle Unlimited, or I read it on my tab with the Kindle Unlimited login. So why I tell this is because often when we are doing nothing and when we are bored, we end up scrolling on our phone on Instagram or Threads, or any other social media for that matter. So when you do that, it takes time away from your reading. So but you still feel like you want to be on your phone and you want to be glued to your phone or to a screen. In those cases, it will really help if you pick up an e-book instead of a physical book. You'll still be on your phone, and you'll satisfy that urge to keep looking at your phone. At the same time, you'll be able to read something. So usually I go for books that are there on Kindle Unlimited and very fast-paced, very easy books to read. So this month when I was in a slump, I picked up King of Wrath by Anna Huang. So I have already read the Twisted series, and I was very reluctant to pick up this Kings of Sin series. But I recently heard that, as I'm sure you all would have heard, I recently heard that Anna Huang's fifth installment in this Kings of Sin series is going to be fifth or sixth. I'm not really very sure. It's going to feature an Indian female lead. So I'm very keen to read that. How Western authors, Western authors portray Indian women in their books. So I'm very keen to read that, but I have this thing where I have to read the series in the order. Even though all of Twisted series and all of the Kings of Sin series are standalones and which can be read separately, they are still interconnected standalones. So I want to read from the beginning. So yeah, anyways, we'll sort of deviate it out there. But yeah, what I was trying to tell is I picked up Kings of Sin book 1, King of Wrath, in my Kindle Unlimited, and I read it on my phone. I completed it in a couple of days, but still it gave me a push to start reading again. And after I completed that, in another 3-4 days, I guess, I picked up another physical book by one of my favorite authors. So this is the next step. If you're in a reading slump, pick any book by one of your most top 5 favorite authors. So this month I picked up a book by Jhumpa Lahiri that I have been wanting to read for quite a long time now. It's called The Lowland, the book that you see on the left side of the reading journal. So I was randomly in a bookstore. I was at the mall for some other reason, but then I had to pass through a bookstore, and how can I not go inside? So I spotted this book on the shelf and thought it would be a good, good book to get back to after not reading for a very long time. So I picked up this book and I read it, and every day I read like about 50 to 20 to 50 pages, and finally I completed that book before the month. And that book sort of gave me a push to read more. Usually Jhumpa Lahiri's books are very, very detailed. There are a lot of details, like she'll even describe a tree and even a lake or even a pond for like about one page. So even though that might not help some of you to get out of a slump, for me that kind of writing really helped to get back into reading. So yeah, to recap what all we discussed: choose a shorter book, choose a childhood favorite or an old favorite that you can reread, and read an ebook, and lastly choose a book by a favorite author to get out of your reading slump. And now I'm realizing that I use the word slump a little too many times in this video, but I just yap on here continuously. I don't even go back and listen to what I spoke. So that, just think of it like I'm literally talking out of my mind. I don't prepare any script or anything to follow. I just speak whatever I feel. So yeah, with this we are almost done with our journal as well. I'll be showing a quick flip through. And if you want to know what I do what exactly I do here in updating my journal, I suggest you watch my January and February videos that are more detailed, and I actually speak about what I'm doing here as you see on the video. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.